I'm Dave Seibert. Welcome to Spotlight, where we highlight leaders and executives in our industry. So, James, thanks for being here. And if you'll take a minute, introduce yourself and let us know what Calnet does.
Great. Well, thanks, Dave. My name is James Wang. I'm the CEO for Calnet Technology Group. And in a nutshell, we're a managed service provider for IT, basically all of IT, for our target customer profiles for anyone that's 25 to about 150 employees.
Okay. And I was going to ask you what type of client might be a target client for you. You mentioned size. Might there be something else that would be that would make a great client fit for you?
Sure. So I think there's two ways to look at this. I think the first one is your traditional answer of what's the size and industry vertical, and we certainly have those, Dave. And the industry verticals that we do really adhere to, finance, regulatory based. You can look at manufacturing companies that have some efficiency based. You can also look at education and school districts that have both compliance but also have budgetary minded and mass adoption requirements. But I think on the flip side is we also look for those small, medium businesses that are looking to gain in what I call operational maturity. How do you go and become standardized? How do you go from standardization to become more efficient, more productive? And then how do you then take it from efficiency and productive or productivity to a level of where IT now becomes part of your day-to-day business strategically? And that's who we look for, and that's where we're very best at.
That makes really good sense. And when you say MSP, managed service provider, not everybody knows the kind of services that an MSP does. Matter of fact, not everybody does the same services.
That's right.
So do share some of the core MSP services that Calnet does so that we get a better idea.
Sure. So for Calnet, our company alone is about 150 strong today. We're about 35 million in revenue. We service all of Southern California, and we have clients all over Southern California, West Coast. We even have some clients on the East Coast as well as overseas. But really what we take a look at in the IT space, and I hate to use a lot of buzzwords, but if you think about the platform, if you think about the technology, I call that layer one. So look at all the plumbing. How do we understand the server, storage, networking, communications, the pipe or connectivity? Can we manage that? Can we architect that? Can we remediate that? So that's level one. We're very good at that. I think level two, right above that, is certain applications specific to those industries that I talked about, whether it's financial or manufacturing or even education. So we're very good at that. What we're not very good at and what we don't service is we're not a development operation shop.
Yep.
We're not a coding shop, as they call it. But certainly we do partner with those type of clients to resolve and solve on behalf of our clients.
That makes sense. So you have the core deliverable that you do really well, and then you have other things that you partner with. That makes really good sense. So let's talk about the benefits. So a client engages you, you're in a relationship now, and you're handling the needs that they have. What are some of the outcomes that clients experience when they're doing business with you?
Sure. So I'm going to go back to my introduction where I talked about operational maturity. One of the big areas of our push within our organization, as well as to our client base, is whether you do business with us or whether you do business with anyone or whether you decide to in-house IT, so to speak. I would say number one is think about your maturity, your operational maturity as it pertains to IT. I know Service Leadership and HTG and some of the peer organizations that support the IT managed service providers in the country have a similar adopted approach. But what we take to heart at Calnet is we say number one is where are you in that operational maturity level? Benchmark yourself. Second, how do you now grow that operational maturity level? What playbooks or runbooks do you follow? And then once you establish those runbooks and playbooks, now create some controls, access, governance. Who gets to see what? Who gets to do what? Because not many providers have that level of maturity, certainly not in-house of IT or certainly external to some of the service providers. And then last but not least, where you ultimately want to take IT in our mindset, those clients want to take those IT as a specific strategic value. So in other words, if I want to launch a product, I want to have IT seated at the table. If I want to maintain my clients, I want to have IT seated at the table. If I'm going to go acquire a company, make my company bigger, I want to have IT seated at the table. Because ultimately, that tells me that the company wants to mature. So we have an IT operational maturity level concept, and we utilize that where we standardize through a reference architecture for every one of our clients. From that standardization, then we build processes, which we then call a run book, and we document that. Why is that important? Well, if one of our engineers are sick, if one of your employees are sick, I would hope that there's a manual that allows you to allow someone to substitute and come in and be able to run the operations. You know, IT is a hot market. People move around. But that documentation and run book process, if anything, if you don't do services with us, if you don't do services with anyone else, have that courage to document. And so we show our clients, how do we standardize, how do we create that run book, then create policies around controls, and then last but not least, having a seat at the table at strategic value. We call that our customer experience framework. So we launched that internally as CXF, but it's a playbook that allows every single client, once you come on board, to say, we benchmarked you. Now, hold us accountable to help you grow over a period of time. Now, if we don't grow as fast as you'd like, or you don't grow at all, we're held accountable, and you have every right to fire us. And I think that symbiotic relationship, it's what sets us apart and what allowed us to grow as rapidly as we have.
That's a great model. To kind of wrap things up, you were talking a little bit earlier. I know you have multiple locations,
Sure.
Geography-wise. Cover
Sure.
different areas. Touch on for a minute where you have some coverage.
Sure. So obviously we were born and raised in Southern California, specifically in the Valley. Zach Schuler was our founder, and I got to give a plug out to his company, which is Ningio, which, you know, he's a tech.
I know Ningio well, and
That's right.
I'm glad you gave that a plug.
So Zach started this business in the Valley, and of course that's our headquarters up in Chatsworth, California. From Chatsworth, we've been able to expand into another location in Inland Empire, so Rancho Cucamonga. From Rancho Cucamonga, we've acquired and grew organically and inorganically to Orange County through the acquisition of in-house IT, and we're based out of Costa Mesa as well. So today, we have both field and remote engineering services that can be deployed anywhere from the South Orange County all the way up to the Ventura and northernmost Santa Clarita Valley.
Excellent. James, I appreciate it. Good time speaking.
Dave, thanks for the invite.